Keepers of the Cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here, and we have a special co-host tonight. We have none other than Pocan Joe filling the shoes for Rob's Fat Stacks of Comics. How are you doing this evening, Joe?
I am doing well, sir. How about yourself?
I am doing okay. I'm wondering where our illustrious guest is. Hopefully he's just running behind. But as we're waiting for TJ to show up, um, I would like to see. I know you got some goings on in the evil lair, and you have a special project coming up for Comics Curing Cancer. So I want to give you the stage for a few minutes, let you talk about that, so the audience knows what's going to happen with you live.
Sure, sure. I always love that. It's my favorite subject, me. So, what
All
we're going to
right.
be doing over at Comics Curing Cancer on Rob's Facts channel. Of course, you know, we got the comic book artist, great artist. It's a great cause. Your money will go to something great. So I wanted to do something great for you and build up a little, suspense, if you will. So what we're going to do over at the Evil Lairs, we're going to make a Hydra pirate ring. I know that sounds weird, but what we're going to do is we're going to take some old techniques that pirates used to use to make the balloon rings. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the Hydra symbol and we're going to emboss it in there. And you can watch me do it live over at Rob's Fat Stacks Friday night. Comics Curing Cancer. I'm going to make it live right there for everybody. And who knows? And then we're going to auction it off, of course. And of course, I'll beef up that just a little bit more with a mystery box as well. So it's going to be really fun. It's going to be really cool. The way we're going to make this, we're going to do it with a hybrid sand casting. And I'm going to make my own metal alloy called Nordic Gold, where I'm going to take raw metal. I'm going to mix it together so we get that beautiful golden shine to it. It's going to be super cool. I would definitely check it out if I wasn't doing it. And who knows? I could hurt myself, and that's always a plus to watch on YouTube.
Right. Uh, well, it'd be like our very own version of Jackass, right?
Yeah, right. Just dumping hot metal on myself. Ah.
Uh, Hey, what's going on, guys? It is going to be a good show when TJ gets here. Um, we start these things at 8. I noticed that in when I was making the thumbnail, and I just looked that I actually put 8:30 on the thumbnail, so we might be killing a little time till he gets backstage here.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
But
You're going to be hosting during the Comics Carrying Cancer as well, aren't you?
I am, and we'll talk about that in a second. So coming up on the 21st, we are going to have this is the pre-show to the show, guys. We're talking Comics Curing Cancer right now. So on the 21st, I'm going to have a special to 1011 with a local comic guy here, and he also has a YouTube channel, Out of the Panel Comics. His name is Dan, and Dan Can, and his daughter Zoe's big into comics too. And they are going to be my guest that night because he does a little. He does not a little. He does a ton of charity work here in Rochester, New York. So what he has is a program called PVP, Pops for Patients, and what that is people donate and send him pops in their boxes, and he takes them because you have to have everything that's sealed, so you can't just give him a comic book or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes those to the hospitals around here, and he gets them into kids' hands that need something to cheer up their day and make their life a little bit brighter.
Nice.
And he does this constantly. It's always going. He's never stopping. So I'm like, well, who better to have on a charity stream than a guy that's already big into charity locally? We can promote Pops for Patients, and we're going to have a live giveaway that night. So he's got a few prize packs. So we'll be spinning a wheel here and getting a prize live out. Plus, the people who are going to donate during that show are going to get on the big wheel on Rob's show when they do the big giveaway, and on the big wheel that everyone gets into. So we'll have the link in the description. We'll have everybody else's channels that you can check out. You can chain it all along and get it done, and it'll be a lot of fun. I was really honored that Rob asked me because I don't know how to organize something like this, and just being a part of it's a lot of fun. And I also, on that prize wheel that Rob's going to have, we have a donation from Rhinos Comics, which is a Predator comic box with the first couple issues of the new Predator comic that just started at Marvel, plus two Predator figures inside it. So a little Predator pack, about $75-$80 value. That's going to go out to some lucky winner on a wheel.
I think we need to find another Predator pack. That sounds horrible. We need to change that name.
Well, you know, I did. I have a right. I have I have a friend here locally that Joe, and um, uh, Kale from Geek Spot Comics,
Yeah.
and you made him the Rocketeer helmet, which he
Yeah.
absolutely loves. I've seen it. I've seen it in person. It's great.
Yeah.
But what you've never done is make a Predator helmet.
Oh, I wouldn't even know how to start. You know what? We could do that now that I think about it. I don't know if I can do it for C3, but I'm
No, no,
pretty
just
sure.
something for the future. Put that. I just want to put that in the back of your
You
mind.
like
I'd love
when
to
you
see how
pull
a
it
Predator
off,
helmet would make.
when
Right?
you disconnect the dreads, it does that. That would be awesome. That would be a cool effect.
Well, we already got Jackson Rourke starting up. Hey, little boy, I have comics in my van over here.
Right? I told you that.
The Predator box, yeah. Oh, Journey, how you doing, everyone? We'll say hi to the chat real quick while we're waiting for TJ. And
Yeah.
again, guys, this is my mess up, not TJ's. For some reason, because my other show is at 8:30. This one's at 8. This one always starts a half hour earlier. So we had Seth 11, good evening. Ace Surfer, good evening. One Shot Comics, good evening, sir. Nice to see you in here, Nick. Never Enough Nicks, Wheelchair Superhero. How you doing, Kyle? The one, the only Matt Woods. And he'll tell you himself he's the most handsome man in the room. We have Bill from Comic Mag Musings, who had a great episode himself on the 1011.
Mm-hmm. I saw
Of
that.
course, A Surfer, I already said. Now, if you guys haven't checked out A Surfer's channel, super fun guy, super good dude. And he takes some of the best wave pictures. He's actually A Surfer, and he takes these incredible pictures while he's in the wave. They look amazing.
Is he a West Coast surfer? I'm assuming then.
I think he's Hawaii. Surfer, put it in the comments. Are you Hawaii? You're in Hawaii, correct,
Right.
sir?
Like I said,
Comic
I
Journey
surfed back in the
himself,
day, but I live in Virginia, so I wouldn't even call it surfing, as this more glorified boogie board and standing up.
right? Oh yeah, I'm just gonna check this real quick. Now, I did want to talk. You earlier said you make your own Halloween decorations. You
Yes.
don't buy any yourself. You make everything.
Well, my wife will see things. My wife's a horrible shopper. I mean, it's like she likes a bargain, she likes a deal, but like if it becomes making it or buying it, she would rather just go and hunt down a deal. So we kind of do like a little hybrid thing around here. We haven't put anything up just yet because we're still getting everything together. But I live in your typical suburb cul-de-sac where lawn decorations, all that's a competition. So who can ever outdo the other one every year? And they all beat me on the lawn because they just have better lawns than me. But I try to get them on the decorations.
Now, I could. How are they beating you though? Because I could see you seem competitive to me. Like you're a go all out type of guy.
So when it comes to decorations, it's always subjective. We just see which kids will have the most reaction to it because the families do like a Christmas walk around. And I'm not a big Christmas guy. Hanukkah is my thing. But I mean, I decorate for it anyway, right? But Halloween time, like, we don't want to scare the little kids, but we try to make it at least interesting for them and all that. But like I said, they usually get me on the lawn care thing. Like I have to go around and ask questions about like, why is my grass brown right now? They're like, you need to water it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing. Well, the sprinkler system put in. Yeah.
Now, have you ever been one of those houses where you make your own haunted house that the kids walk through to get candy?
We did something similar to that actually as sort of a neighborhood when I was in the army. The kids would come up the stairs, and at each level of the steps of where where we were living at the time, I don't want to call them apartments, condos, I guess is the best what you can call them. Um, each time the kids came up, people would be outside doing something scary, and we decorated the inside of it and all that. But for the most part, my house probably isn't the safest house to walk through, especially if you go through the evil lair. So no, we just meet them at the end of the driveway. We throw candy at them and laugh at them.
Now, are you the house that buys the good candy or you buy the cheap candy?
So we have to buy the good candy because I live in a suburbs in the cul-de-sac. So like we can't be that place, right? We got to be the place that has good candy, so all the kids will come and look at all these decorations we put up.
Right?
It worked twofold. What about you, man? What big Halloween? Are you a big Halloween guy? Decorations, the whole 9 yards?
I like Halloween, and my kid likes to dress up, but he's not so much a trick or treater. We'll go around the block. He's like, "I'm ready to get home." I'm like, You're a good kid." But he will wear like he's already got his costume, and he will wear it all the way up to Halloween. That thing
Oh
gets
yeah,
its
there you go.
use,
What's
and
he
he's
gonna
a
be
big
picturing?
Attack of the Killer Clowns fan. So he's shorty this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That is
my
nice.
kid's very retro. He loves retro games and a lot of retro stuff like that. So he's very old school in his approach to a lot of stuff that he just loves it.
That is super cool.
And like the thing is, my favorite movie, Attack of the Killer Clowns, is his.
Yeah,
So we
I can
got him
see.
the little gun. It makes the noises, and decorating. So so. I like Halloween, and it's weird that it's not my favorite because I'm a big horror guy.
Mhm.
But I'm more of a Christmas person. I like making the dinner. I like watching people open the presents,
Yeah,
and you know, and relax. I just don't like the dishes.
yeah. I'm not a big dishes fan either.
I will sit there and buy everything I can that I can throw away after, so I don't
Yeah,
have to do
I'm the
dishes.
same way. My wife hates it. Like we have like nice dishes we use when people come over and stuff, and I just get upset because I'm like, it's get a paper plate. And so look up already. Just be
No,
done with
I'll buy the nice paper plates, but I'm throwing that away.
it.
away after.
The thick ones with the decorations on them, slightly larger. I know your style, sir, because I'm that style.
Right. Make the cleanup easy. All right,
Mhm.
so our guest of the hour has showed up. Shall we bring him in?
Hey, he loves everybody. He wants you to love everybody, and he's always back in a flash.
Right, and I hear he's got a thing for bots. Hey, all right, guys, our guest of the hour, TJ. I gave you the wrong time, and I apologize. Sometimes my brain is stuck on in the hot seat and not the temper.
Gotcha, gotcha. I was thinking to myself, I should double check to make sure. And then I just went with the assumption, and yeah. But we're
And
here.
and it's okay. You know why, TJ? Because all these fine people in the chat know that you, sir, are worth the wait.
Aha.
So before we get going, as I like to do with all these, give a little bit of who you are and what your channel's about. We'll say hi to the chat one more time. There's some new people in, and we'll get going.
Okay, so I am TJ, aka Flash by Night. Um, I started my channel. Well, I guess I jumped into comics, uh, basically choosing two characters, one DC, one Marvel. Of course, that's Flash and Moon Knight to try and focus on and try and collect and see what these characters are about. Lately, looks like I ought to be a Transformers channel. I this Transformers bug hit me, and I've been on the kick ever since.
You are now. You were a big. Do you have the whole Marvel run too of the Transformers?
I do not have the whole Marvel run. I have 1 through 15, and I have some sporadic 20s and 30s, and then I've got a few in the 60s. and 70s. So I'm missing a lot of them kind of in the middle of the run, and I don't I don't go and try and seek them out and everything. Just whenever they fall into my lap, whenever I run across one at a shop or at a flea market or whatever, I'll pick them up whenever I see them.
And
Um,
you know what? The books you're looking for will find you.
Yeah.
Like I was looking at a complete run of the Maddie Franklin Spider Woman, which is 18 issues. And I had
uh,
1 and 6. I'm like, oh, I looked at lots on eBay. I'm like, and here it is. I just let it go. About a year later, my comic shop just got them in. You know, the owner,
right.
check, yeah, the owner check calls me. Do you want these? I'll put them aside for you. I'm like, yes.
That's that's usually what happens if you pass something up because the price isn't right or whatever or it's bad timing. Usually it'll come around. It'll come around to you.
Yeah.
You just
so
have to have patience.
so let's get to your first book and see what you brought for us. Did you have fun picking them out?
I did. I actually once I got down to like the final 15 and then I had trouble kind of picking out which ones won't make the cut. I was kind of sad that some of them didn't make the cut, but we'll roll with it and maybe on some other show they'll come and make an appearance.
Right? Or yeah, you could have put them in your background. We'd have to look at them anyway.
Okay. So my first book is actually a book that I picked out because I am on Gary B's channel. Like they say you shouldn't come to a person's house, especially if you're coming for dinner or holiday or whatever, and come empty-handed. Don't bring anything. So since I'm in Gary B's house, hypothetically,
Yeah.
I decided to bring Conan Serpent War issue number 3.
Ooh, nice. You got Moon Knight and Solomon Kane on the cover. Dark Agnes in the
Uh,
background.
Agnes and Conan.
Oh, I see him. Yeah. Dark Agnes is one of those forgotten characters that
Yeah.
that is a great read.
Yeah.
Right.
Both the run that came out a few years ago and before that, actually. Yeah.
Oh, did you ever read the original stories? But he wrote 2.5 stories of her, and someone finished the third one.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most brutal origin stories.
It's rough.
I heard you talking about it on Brian LCS's 411. What was it? Was it last Friday? Week before
Yeah,
last? Yeah, I heard you talking about and you gave a really in-depth history lesson on, is it Robert E. Howard?
yeah.
That's his name? Yeah, you gave a really, really good lesson on his characters
So
and
good you
their
had trouble
backgrounds and
remembering
everything.
his name. Just kidding.
All right, right. That's how many lessons I get about Robert E. Howard from Gary B. I wouldn't know Robert E. Howard from a hole in the wall, but Gary B is gonna make sure you know.
No, that is a great cover. That was actually a fun read, that 6 issue mini too.
Yeah.
Yes. And then it led into, I think, is it Serpent Crown? I think was the
Yeah,
Conan book it led into.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But that was my first book. I knew I had to bring it out since I was on your channel.
and you got Matt Woods happy too. He's also a big
Oh,
Conan guy.
all right.
See, you already
How
got
we
two
doing, man?
thumbs up, TJ.
All right.
Nice. Well,
So
thank you for bringing a Conan book. You're the first. No, Matt Woods was the first, but you're the second.
all right. Well, if you're not first, you're last, unless you're on Gary B's channel. Okay. All right. So I'm going to preference this with saying that unlike I won't say most of the comic book community, I've run across people who are relative newbies like me. But I didn't start in the 80s or 90s or whatever. I actually started going into comic shops right around the time Black Panther came out. I decided when Captain America Winter Soldier came out, when I saw the twist with Bucky actually being the Winter Soldier, that I needed to read comics because all of these comic people knew that Bucky was Winter Soldier already. And I'm sitting there bewildered in the movie theater. So that's that's kind of my background into reading comics and why I'm just starting now. That being said, my first favorite, actually twofold. My first favorite cover and the first time I actually got emotional in a book
Oh.
was the Mighty Thor 705. Of course, now that I'm in the comics, there are all kinds of covers everywhere, all kinds of different colors, different shades, different different artists. But I really did like this cover when I first started collecting. I also liked the for those who haven't read it, spoiler alert, this is I don't want to bag on Love and Thunder, but this ending for Jane Foster was probably 20 times better than Love and Thunder's.
Yes, yes.
she she like in the movie in here, she's in the hospital bed, and she knows that if she lifts the hammer one more time and becomes Thor, she knows she's gonna die. And the man God is on Asgard wreaking havoc. He's run through Odin. He's run through what's the guy's name who can see everything? Heimdall.
Oh,
He's
Heimdall?
run through Odin. He's run through Heimdall. He's run through right now the unworthy Thor. He's run through all of Asgard. And then the hammer comes to find Jane. Jane picks up the hammer. All three of them fight the man god, and then she decides that she's going to take this magical chain, wrap it around Mjolnir, and then have it wrapped around Mangog and throw both Mjolnir and Mangog into the sun. Which worked out for about a couple of years, but in the meantime, like I said, Jane knew that if she transformed one more time, that was it. And so she dies in this issue.
It had like the real hero sacrifice.
Yeah.
Right. Now, 706 was my first comic letdown, but I didn't bring 706 with me. if there's a death in 705, you know what 706 did to me.
I was gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you. Did you read 706?
They didn't give it one issue. They didn't give it one issue before she was back, and I'm like, y'all just killed the moment. You just killed the moment. But for that whole month, when I didn't know what was going to happen, this was great.
Wow. Now I knew she came back. I didn't know it was the next issue.
And I guess they kind of teased a little bit, but I kind of suspended my disbelief, and I was like, well, I've heard the characters come back in comics. Maybe they won't do it, and then they did it.
But hey, it doesn't take away from that first initial impact it had on you when you read that one.
It does not. And it like I said, it was a good story. They made me kind of feel for her both when she made the decision, and then when the decision caught up to her. You felt it kind of both times. I really did appreciate it. And even if 706 undid some of it, it was still a good issue.
Nice. That was a great one. And the first book that made you emotional, huh?
Yes, I was like, oh, they're actually doing this.
The power of good writing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That was Jason Aaron who wrote that too, right?
Yes, that was Jason Aaron's. He stayed on for, because even after that, he stayed on for the next regular Thor run leading into War of the Realms.
He can do that because he did that to me recently in the King Conan 6-issue miniseries in issue 4 at the end with Conan and his son, which was really
heartbreaking.
Well, it was so well written.
Wow.
But so I have a feeling he's probably had that effect on a few people.
Yeah, I think Jason Aaron, when if you give him too many parameters, it feels like he's boxed in, and he needs to play outside of the sandbox. So if you give him a chance to tell a story outside of the sandbox, he's in his element.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. And when you let him go, he's good.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, number 3, sir.
All right. Number 3 is, speaking of which, the first. I'm gonna do a lot of first. So the first Transformers book I ever picked up
Oh, Dinobots roll out.
Yes.
was issue number 8, the first
Yes.
appearance of the Dinobots. Um, and Ratchet found them in some tar pits, and they had been on Earth, like the Transformers crash landed on Earth 4 million years ago, and Shockwave landed on Earth a little bit after the main Transformer ship that crashed, and so the ship created the Dinobots out of the primary species on Earth. Like later on, the ship created all the Autobots and Decepticons bodies, out of cars and planes and trucks and things. But this was the only thing on Earth the ship had to work with. And so Transformers issue number 8 was the first Dinobot.
That is, I did not know the Dinobot history. That's really cool.
Yeah, that they. I always I love that issue because the animated version did not stray too far from that book right there. And actually,
No.
and then the whole origin and everything was kind of on point.
And of
And,
course, I love the art. And what's great about that series too, and a bunch of series back then share this commonality, like
mhm.
ROM or Micronauts. You can't buy trades of them,
Yeah.
right?
That is very true.
Because they're IPs, and so you either have the floppies or you don't.
Now, and I don't know how this works legally or how the IP works, but Taki 616 from the PCP Army Bad Batch showed me where I can find the classic Transformers books. They've got classic volumes on Comixology for issues I don't have, and
Oh,
so
nice.
once I started straying in the issues I don't have physically, I'm going to use Comixology for the rest of my reviews because I'm still going to like try and go through the rest of this Marvel run on
Now,
Transformers Tuesday.
so you're reading the entire run right now for the first time?
Yes,
Oh, that's amazing! What a great experience for you.
right. And so I can see the good, the bad, the things that don't make any sense, but it's a comic, so we're gonna go with it.
Yeah.
Sometime in this run, so this entire first 12 issues, no, no, issues 5 through 12. Shockwave actually has Optimus Prime's head held hostage, basically. And I'm trying to figure out how he made a fake head sometime during the run and put it on Optimus Prime's body and had Optimus Prime's body turn on the Autobot. And then the body got rid of the fake head and put a real head on. And I'm like, well, how does all this work? Like, how does attach, detach? I don't know how this stuff works. But
And
it's a comic, so we
what
go
part
with
of the body has a sentience to it to make it do
it.
it?
An interesting part of that is for missing gaps inside of issues. Just so everybody knows, the entire Transformers run is in the U.S. House of Archives. You can go online and look at it and read it on the US.gov website
Oh,
for free.
that is interesting.
For
I did
free.
see a tidbit because they were talking about Black Panther. I did see a tidbit where I guess either the Library of Congress or
Yeah.
one of those national libraries has it is officially the biggest comic book collection in
Mhm.
either in the United States or in the world, one or the other.
Yeah.
Now, was your first
So
introduction to the Transformers the cartoon, and then you discovered the comics?
yes, first introduction was the cartoon. Um, I've always said that Optimus Prime, like my mother and father were great parents. My third parent is Optimus Prime.
Now, when you read those, TJ,
Yes,
you're doing the cartoon voices in your head, right?
I try to. I don't have every voice in my head, but I'm guaranteed when I read Starscream or when I read Shockwave or Soundwave, like all the major characters that I have in my head, I do read them in my head with
And their
those voices.
voices. Right.
I have to. I have to.
It's part of the
Well,
fun, dude. It's part of what
It
makes
could
it
be
so
worse.
epic.
Starscream could end up sounding like Cobra Commander, and that would just be a nightmare.
Oh no. Who would do that? Oh, that's
Yeah,
that
email saying, wait, what?
that was
U.S. Archives?
that was the real terrorist threat in G.I. Joe was Cobra Commander sounded like Starscream. that was the one weapon they didn't use to their maximum potential.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another tidbit, and I'm pretty sure Joe knows. But the Dinobots were stuck in the Savage Land.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. They were discovered in the Savage Lands. They made it a point to, and I don't know what happened in the issue, but the issue, the first appearance of Nebula. I forget which book that is. Is it Avengers 261?
I don't know.
The
I have
first
it
appearance
of Nebula
yeah.
with the
Whatever
nihilists and
issue,
stuff.
whatever issue is the first appearance of Nebula. This issue happens in the Savage Lands right before then. They made it a point to point that out in this book, and I believe in issue 4 or 5. So it must be really important.
I have those issues. Yeah. I'll have to go back and look. That's cool. Good knowledge, man. You're on it.
No. I didn't know that the first appearance of Nebula and Transformers was connected at all.
They're close. I don't know what happens after this issue in the Savage Lands, but apparently something involving Nebula happens in the Savage Lands,
Cool.
or at least something involving the Avengers at the same time we get Nebula. It's a whole crossed up thing. Happens around the time that we find the Dinobots.
Go pull those out and take a look. That would be interesting. That would be cool. Thanks for the show idea.
Yeah, and that's an expensive issue now. That issue will cost you like $80 to $100 raw right now, I think.
Yeah.
Talking about the Dinobots?
No, the Nebula issue.
Oh yeah.
Too, yeah.
I have that slabbed.
All right.
Yeah, that is most likely going to go up as a C3 prize. So you might want to get your donations in to try to win it.
Uh-oh. I got to break open the piggy bank in a couple of weeks.
just a little teaser there, guys.
Guys.
Wink,
oh,
wink.
my ding thing isn't here. I can't ding. Ding.
Right.
Ding.
Number 4, TJ.
All right. Book number 4 is the first book that told me I should be with my, now former LCS. They closed. But the first olive branch they offered me was Marvel Spotlight, issue number 28.
Ooh. I thought we'd see that from you tonight.
It is not in the greatest of shapes.
It matters not, sir.
It's beautiful.
But I've been going to my LCS maybe about a month, and they kind of picked up on some of my tendencies. And they had this book hanging around, and they asked if I wanted it, and I said yes, and they just gave it to me.
How awesome! What a great story. Well, they knew they made a customer for life, so they got their money from you eventually.
Right. So I that was true. They got their money back,
but that's still kind.
I didn't stray until they had to close. They said they had to close their doors. They closed their doors. I'm not going to question whether or not they had to. It's their prerogative. But
right.
They're still open as an online store, but as a day-to-day walk-in retail shop, they're not operating in that way anymore.
Now, did you like Moon Knight before that book, or is that the book that introduced you to Moon Knight?
I've still not opened this book. A few of my older books, I'm afraid to open and see if the pages fall off or not. But I will say that I chose Moon Knight as a character because I wanted to at least choose one Marine Corps veteran character to follow. And once I chose the Flash because of the TV series, and so my choices for a Marvel character came down to either Moon Knight or Punisher. And I went with Moon Knight because Punisher was a little more popular. I wanted to go with this character who I didn't know anything about.
Yeah. Well, you have to. I wonder who you could argue is more psychotic though.
Well, one's a mental illness, and the other one's just a badass.
Right, but with different personalities. Well, no, they
Well,
both. No, the Punisher has got mental illness.
I'm
Huh?
I'm I'm pretty sure PTSD is at least one has to be at least one of this problem.
Right.
But I will say, since there are technically three of this guy, then then he's
And
three
I'll
times
go
as crazy.
ahead and say, even with Frank Castle having PTSD, he's found a way to. They always tell you to find a hobby if you have PTSD or another interest. He just
He's
found
found
another interest we don't agree with.
Even if
well, it depends on when he used the interest, whether or not we agree.
Just saying, he found a
now
hobby.
is Mark Spector your favorite Moon Knight personality, or is it one of the other guys? Jake what? Jake Lockley. What's the other one?
You got Stephen Grant, Jake Lockley, and Mark Spector. I'll probably go with Mark since he's the primary person. He's the
Right.
person that is they enlisted in the Marine Corps.
Exactly.
Jake is funny because depending on who the creator is, like those of us or those who got familiar with Moon Knight through the Disney Plus show, they know and have been told that Jake Lockley is like the dastardly of the three. He's the lowdown one. He's going to be the one to
The
commit
dirty
all of
fighter.
the violence and everything. But in reality, most of the Moon Knight creators have Jake Lockley just being a cab driver and a guy that kind of knows the streets and makes acquaintances on that level for when it's time for Moon Knight to fight crime. And Mark is the more violent. He's been a mercenary in the Marine. He's supposed to be the more violent.
Right.
But every once in a while, some creator will flip it and say that Jake is the more violent.
Yeah.
And you're a fan of the new run by Jed McKay?
I am reading it month by month.
Nice. Jed McKay's a good writer.
And that's kind of what Jed said when the Moon Knight show came out, and people were asking Jed, because up until issue number 13, he hadn't addressed Jake or Steven. It was just Mark and Moon Knight and his deal with Zodiac. That was the whole 1 through 12 issue run.
Yeah.
And then issue 13, he finally introduced the other two alters. And what Jed McKay will tell you is that Steven makes money, Jake makes friends, and Mark makes bodies.
Yeah. Have you been enjoying that run so far? I've been reading it myself. I haven't missed an issue yet. I'm absolutely in love with it.
I'm enjoying myself. It is a really good book. Really refreshing. Because I didn't hate the Max Bemis run before it, but Max kind of went off the rails a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think the Lemire run was before Max Bemis. And the Lemire run was the first. Lemire was the first Moon Knight run I actually read, and I had no clue up until that point. I hadn't read any Moon Knight. I don't know who these other two guys that Mark keeps talking to are. I don't know why this book keeps flipping us back and forth between some cab driver and some movie director, and why we're in and out of mental hospitals, and and why there's sand and pyramids in the middle of New York City. I didn't know any of that kind of stuff the first time I read Lemire's run because I didn't know what Moon Knight was.
Right.
Once I knew and read back through it, I'm like, okay, all right, this makes sense. This makes sense. But people ask me, where should I start reading Moon Knight? Like, not Lemire's run. People are going to tell you it's great.
Yeah.
That is not your first run.
That's jumping in the deep end, right?
The assumption with
your feet and hands tied.
All right, number 5, buddy.
All right, book number 5 is my first pretty good dollar being find,
Ooh,
and it is technically $2. I won't cheat, $2.
nice.
And
Signed
we've got
by.
Ultimate Spider-Man #1. I think that's Carrie Andrews' signature down there.
Nice cover too.
Right. Yeah, I was digging through a $2 bin at a flea market, and I came across it, and I didn't know it would like
And it
balloon and
was
be
signed
worth
when you got it
anything.
too.
Was that?
It was signed for $2.
Yes. Yes. And this is before Into the Spider-Verse. So Miles hadn't had his day in the sun yet. I also and I wanted to find it for one of my stories. I also found a $2 copy of that Brave and the Bold 28.
Right.
Is that?
Brave and the Bold 28, the first Justice League.
Oh, okay.
I found it for $2, and I started look. I knew what the cover looked like, and I started looking around at people, making sure nobody came in my little corner. I made sure nobody looked at my book sideways. I'm
Yeah.
not
Getting
a
quite
violent.
ready.
I'm not a violent person, but don't try me. This is my book. I found this book. I wrote. I had more errands to run, so I rolled around like 3 or 4 more hours that day, saying I had the first Justice League. And then as I was putting my book up, I turned it around and I saw the Loot Crate reprint.
Oh.
I was, I was that was my first real digging experience, and I just knew I had found this collecting thing is easy. I found the first Justice League for $2.
I
Like
don't know
this
why these guys are stressing. This is easy.
I nailed this out of the gate. I don't know what these fools are doing.
what are they doing? How can they not find these books? And then it's a Loot Crate reprint.
So Ian Taylor said he'll pay you $5 for. Then he goes, "Oh, never mind. I'll pay you 25."
But yeah, so I found that, and I found this. This one is not a reprint. This is
Right.
this is not quite First Justice League, but
You're
but
saving that one for a whack hack, right? No, just
you know, keep those guys away from me. Those guys away.
All right, number 6.
They are hilarious, but they are dangerous.
Yeah.
All right, number 6, we are going to go inside. So I can. Now I think I've done this a couple of times, but number 6, I do not have Werewolf by Night 32. I may one day, but I don't yet.
You didn't
I
find
do
it in the
have.
corner box?
I do have Werewolf by Night 31.
Nice.
Nice.
But
And
such great covers back then too. I love the Werewolf by Night covers.
Yeah.
And this is book number 6 because, and I don't know why it doesn't get more attention, but this is the first mention of
Oh
Moon
yeah,
Knight.
Yes, it is. Yes. First mention.
right there.
So it's not technically the first appearance, but it is the first mention, the first thought of Moon Knight.
And
Nice.
I mean, and that's just a great name too, Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Werewolf by night, like he would be a
Werewolf
wolf
by
at
night.
any other time.
We have all kinds of night things going on. Did y'all
He
watch?
could, Joe. It's just frowned upon in Werewolf Etiquette Society.
You're right.
What's that? What's frowned on by the werewolves?
No, he was like, he can only be a werewolf by night. I'm like, no, he can do it all the time. It's just frowned upon.
There's illegal, and then there's a frowned upon.
Right.
It's all about the weight.
Like you went out during the daytime.
Right? Got to turn in your werewolf license. Then you can't werewolf for at least a month.
Werewolf license.
Right. No wolfing around for a bit.
No. You have to stay in your human form. You can't let your anger get the best of you.
That's a
Now, have
really
you read
good
the
one.
Werewolf by Night run? Because it's up and down, but it's a lot of fun. I bought the Epic collections of it and read it.
Yeah.
I have not. I have not. In fact, I've cracked open not the real I've cracked open my replica or my reprint Werewolf by Night 32. But I haven't sat down and read it yet. I've I've cracked it open a couple of times while I'm already sleepy or I'm busy and I put it back down and didn't get back to it. Um, but I've heard 32 and 33 are basically a one big fight between Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you got his helicopter pilot Frenchie in there too.
And
And
So,
Frank Yang.
oh, Frenchie. Have y'all got the chance to watch the show yet?
oh yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah.
I liked it. I didn't cry about it like everybody else.
I'm going to be honest with you. That's my favorite thing in the MCU in the last 2 years. Like that just 30-minute program or hour long program
Yeah.
is my new favorite thing.
Oh wait, the Werewolf by Night one.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was good. I like the Man Thing looked great. Hey, Ted.
I I I loved by the end of it, by the end where they're sitting in the forest together. Spoiler alert for anybody who hadn't watched.
Yeah.
By the end, when the two friends are sitting in the forest together, like I need them in like a road trip movie or a
Yeah.
buddy cop film or
Like,
they need to be together on
like
screen
Fonzie
somewhere.
just driving across country. That we need that.
And I don't know about you guys, but didn't you always wonder when you read Man Thing what like the live version of
Every time.
Those Who Know Fear Burn at the Touch of the Man Thing? And I thought it looked so great in that episode.
I love the way they got around, and I don't want to run down a rabbit hole because I can do that, but I'm going to say this real quick.
Okay.
So the reason why they were able to get away with so much gore and everything was because of one stupid color, red. The way the law reads in the FCC is red blood. So doing the splatter
Right.
effect with the blood in black and white was so smart. Like it just gave it that old world feel. Like I'm telling, it's my new favorite thing right now. I'm on this.
It was. Oh, it just once he wolfed out, like it just went another level.
So
And I just loved how it looked like the classic like Lon Chaney where it just had to just it looked great.
it looks like a great black and white movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was,
and
it
I
was
was
good.
and I was kind of worried when I saw the original teaser for it during it's Captain. Boy, Captain. When I first saw the original teaser during was it San Diego Comic Con or it must be I think it was San Diego. When I first saw the original teaser and it was black and white, I'm like, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know how people are gonna receive this. Like I'm gonna be excited either way, but I don't know how it's gonna come off. And then I watched it, and it was just the right amount of funny for me,
Yeah.
and like you said, it had the gore, it had the blood. We lost a couple of limbs.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that Jack Russell had already been along a few years. He had already been werewolf for
We'd
a
have to do an
while.
origin story. I love the fact that there was a David Bowie look-alike walking around. I don't know what that dude's deal was. I was happy to see him die.
And was that Kurt was it Kurt Russell? Was that Kurt Russell? The big guy with the axe?
No.
No, I don't know. It's some actor I don't know, but
He
when
looked
I first
really
glanced
familiar.
at it, I was like, I was with you. I was like, is that Kurt Russell?
But that surprise kill of him was great.
Yeah.
And the only thing I wanted a little bit differently was Ulysses Bloodstone. I would have liked to seen like the hero monster hunter of Ulysses for a minute.
Don't you worry. I think we're going to be getting some more of that because just the absolute outcry from that has just been beautiful. But I'm sorry. And one other thing could not have come out at a better time of year. Right here at Halloween, you got those black and white movies in your brain. I think that just fed into it. I really do.
And
right.
and Kevin Feige wanted that to be in color originally, and then the guy that was making it showed it to him in black and white, and he said Kevin Feige looked at him and goes, "Oh, this has got to be in black and white, doesn't it?"
Like, okay,
And the
I,
guy's like,
I,
"Yes."
I'm picking up what you're putting down. I got you.
Kudos to Kevin Feige for trusting his director's vision.
Right, right.
But if only they could do that at DC now. All right, number 7, sir.
All right, number 7 is actually the first book where I understood what people saw in Peter Parker. Because being a person who didn't grow up with comics, didn't read comics coming up, my only reference for Peter Parker is movies and some of the cartoons. But it's usually all actions, kind of quippy, kind of funny, a lot of action. But I didn't really ever. I take that back. The train scene in Spider-Man 2 was really good. Well, when with the kids and we won't tell nobody, and that was all good.
Right.
But book wise, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man issue number 6. This book, by the time you get to the second half of this book and actually meet who Spider-Bite is and see why Spider-Man is there, this tells you, in my opinion, tells you everything you need to know about why people cling to Peter Parker.
Oh, he's selfless. He's like Peter Parker's a true hero.
So in this book, this character Spider-Bite and Spider-Man, they have this box with this weapon in it. This weapon that the Sinister Six wants, and so they're fighting off the Sinister Six. They don't explain who Spider-Bite is. He's just this smaller version of Spider-Man fighting with Spider-Man against the Sinister Six. They fight off the Sinister Six, and then they run into the Sinister 60. So it's like 60 of Spider-Man. I don't even know if there's 60 Spider-Man villains, but there's them two 60 Spider-Man villains in this train station, and they're fighting off the Sinister 60, and they escape, and they go to the top of this building. They open up the box with the weapon in it, and it's a Spider-Man toy. And so, then Peter's asking Spider-Bite about the Spider-Man toy, and eventually you turn the page, and that wasn't really what was happening. They were pretending to do that as Peter and Spider-Man was visiting a kid that had terminal cancer at the hospital, and so they were so Peter was basically taking his whole day to pretend like he's having a Spider-Man adventure with this kid who has cancer, basically.
Wow.
And then when it's time to
that's sad. Thanks, TJ. Now everybody's doom and gloom.
I'm not. If you don't have your Kleenex yet, I'm not through. So when it's time for Spider-Man to leave, he wants to leave. He looks at the kid with his parents, and the kid is crying because he knows he has terminal cancer. And anytime, any one of these nights when he goes to sleep, he may not get back up. And so Spider-Man turns around and asks him if he wants to go swinging one more time instead of going to sleep. And of course, the kid says yes. Wow. And so they end with Spider-Man swinging him around the city.
There was and I'm paying attention, but I'm trying to look it up so I can tell you about it. In the 90s cartoon, they had an episode like that with this little girl, and and he takes her on an adventure, although there happens to end up being some real villains here and there.
Right.
But that's a tough one because he reveals his identity to her, which he never does.
Wow.
And he's just about this kid, and when you see him leave, she had wrote Peter Parker a letter to the Daily Bugle to see if he could get in touch with Spider-Man for her because that was her hero. Yeah. And at the end, when he leaves and says goodnight to her, you see that she's in a hospice care.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon and it hits you really hard.
Yeah, that was in the 90s, right?
Yep.
Right? Yeah. I remember. Oh man,
And that
I'm,
issue,
but
I'm
that
almost sure. I'm assuming that's on Disney Plus somewhere. I may, when I get a chance, I may look that up and watch that when I can.
that's a good question because I know they sponged some of the issues from Spider-Man off of there because of content today. But I would definitely, yeah, if it's on there, definitely DM me, let me know because I want to make my daughter cry because I think
Look, I am bad. I just did this. That's why I put the book down. I just did get through explaining the book to you without sniffling. So I am
it's tough.
I am a big West Side Marine Corps teddy bear. Okay.
So if you're
yeah,
looking, the episode's called Make a Wish.
make a wish. Well,
Oh,
that makes sense.
okay, that makes sense.
So I mean,
Okay.
it's named on the nose, but it's one of the more emotional cartoons you'll watch.
I gotta wait for my wife to go to sleep because she knows and she'll be like, really? And a cartoon?
Yeah, it's a good episode because this little girl is just bonding with Peter and Spider-Man the whole time, and he's just doing what he can for her.
Right, right.
But yeah, ooh, all right. Let's number 8. You got an upper after that downer?
I have gotten upper.
I got a feeling it's going to get really sad by the end of
Right?
that night.
Okay, so if I hadn't have watched E-Man on the 1011 a few weeks ago, I may have brought this book here with me to actually put on the show. But he brought it, and his has Optimus. Is it Peter Cullen? And I forget Megatron's real name. But his has their two signatures, and I'm really jealous. And so me and my Jim
Fred
Shooter
Welker?
signature are changed.
He's in the chat now. Let him know.
Yeah, yeah. E-Man, what is up? Frank Welker, I think it is.
Yeah, Fred
Now that,
Welker.
now that I think, okay, Frank Welker.
Also
So,
the Scooby-Doo voice and about a million other cartoon characters.
aha.
Mhm.
Speaking of which, this is off the subject. I did not know. For anyone who watched A Different World. Um, what is her name? Freddie. Freddie from A Different World.
Yeah.
I didn't know what she did after A Different World. Apparently, she's voiced like 800 different cartoons. Who knows?
I got to ask, TJ, how old are you?
I am 43.
So you and me are about the same age because I was like, different world. No, I never hear anybody talk about that. So I was just like, I watched that.
Puppies.
I'm
Yeah,
46. I'm 46.
yeah.
I remember a different world.
I enjoyed A
52.
Different World, and like I forgot what article I read where she was like voice acting a whole bunch of cartoons.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Since you may have asked, I do have, and this is not my official book, but I do have a Transformers #1 with Jim Shooter's signature.
Nice.
I have another one with this signature, but it's not graded, and it's one of those books where I hope it doesn't fall apart one day.
And probably one of Bill Sienkiewicz's most popular covers ever.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until recently. Actually, I know Bill Sienkiewicz mostly from Moon Knight covers, and then I found out he did the Transformers cover.
He did
And
tons of stuff. He did a bunch of Dazzler covers, but he's done so many characters. He's been one of those prolific contributors for
And when you see his
decades.
stuff, you know it's him. Like you just, especially his older Bronze Age stuff, you know it's him.
Right. I would love to see. I don't know if anybody ever do it, but I would love to see like a top 10, top 20 list of Bill Sienkiewicz covers, just from whoever's perspective makes the list. I'd love to see that. But my number 8 book is my other and maybe my first robot favorite, even before Optimus Prime. Let's go,
Oh,
Voltron Boy.
The original Transformers.
In my house on my TV, if it was not Transformers, it was Voltron.
Right.
The Lion
Plain-
Voltrons, right?
Plain and simple.
Yeah. That's a great book. You should slab that. I'm just saying. I know it's pain in the ass.
I have issue number 3 floating around in one of the 5 or 6 auctions I've got going on, and one of the people I'm buying from on Facebook, because when you get to buying books from different people, you forget where the books
Yeah,
are
you
and
do.
who has what book and everything. But somebody I've given money to has number 3 with my name on it.
And they need to give that book to you.
Right. I know what it is. I haven't sent them the shipping because I'm waiting to at least maybe grab 1 or 2 more books.
One for your legs.
And I'll form the head. So
They
yeah,
didn't have really catchy catchphrases. They were just like, just form those parts,
Yeah,
damn
just make this you. You make this color coded.
and then he forms Blazing Sword out of nowhere. I don't know what the Blazing Sword is made of.
The sci-fi woo-woo is strong in that show.
right?
Also, another Transformers tidbit. Um, Peter Cullen, Optimus Prime. He's the voice of the opening of Voltron when he tells you about the good planets of the solar system,
Oh.
who used to trust Voltron, but then Voltron separated, and now that Zartan.
See, and I thought you were going to tell me that Optimus was Voltron's bastard child.
No, he's the general or the commander that tells you about the rebirth of Voltron, defender of the universe.
Yep, that dude. I have like 4 of his autographs. Yes, that dude has done tons of stuff. You'd be surprised.
I would.
Bobby De La Ghetto. Voltron sword is made from unobtainium. You can't get it.
Zarkon is the name I was looking for. Zarkon has to be wondering every episode, where did this sword come from? Like he was fighting bare, I guess bare mouthed, barehanded, whatever you want. He was fighting bare something, and next thing you know, he has a sword.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna put my hands together. Woo woo science fiction. Oh, plasma. We always say plasma when we don't know stuff.
Well, hey, it worked for Thunder the Barbarian.
Yeah, it's got Thunder the Barbarian and the plasma sword.
And there's probably no way to count the number of times between the ages of 8 and 13 that I tried to form Blazing Sword.
Yeah,
I
and
it never worked.
What?
I was lighting sticks on fire and swinging them around, trying to hit my brother with them.
All right, so that's
we used to have those paper tube sword fights all the time too as kids.
Yeah.
There are the little swords that are like plastic tubes that are like one tube is a little bit bigger than the other one, and then the other one's a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller. Yep. And they can kind of compact.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of bring them out. I think my 13-year-old ingenuity didn't come up with this, but as a 43-year-old, I can figure out Blazing Sword. I think.
You know what? I think I just got an Evil Layer project build about to happen here this winter.
Uh-huh.
Well, I was filling his head with images of making a Predator helmet earlier.
Yeah, that might get pushed back. We might make a blazing sword.
Well, we want to see the blazing Predator helmet. That's what there we go.
All right, number 9, sir. Great book.
All right, number 9.
You gotta love a good robot cover.
Yes. This book it's a Justice League number 1, but it comes from the halls of Montezuma.
Yes, I love those covers. Yes.
Nice homage.
This is a homage to the Iwo Jima monument.
Yes.
From World War II with the Marines and one sailor.
Hoorah.
And whenever I can, whenever I'm out and about, and I see a good Iwo Jima monument cover, I always pick it up.
Mhm.
Oh,
Now, do you
they're
have
awesome. They're nice.
your states? Because you know this came out in the different states. Do you have? Because I have
I
Virginia and the
have
America one.
I have two of the American flag, and I have one random state. I think I sent another Marine I met on IG. I sent him the cover with his state. I forget which state it is. I have another state, but it's not Alabama. Um, I'm gonna stop being cheap one day and go ahead and pick up my purchase from my comic shop, because my comic shop has at least half of these for like $2 or $3 a piece. I
Wow.
just hadn't put an order in yet, but I have like all of them on my comic shop wish list. So
Yeah.
sooner or later I'll pick those up.
Yeah, I just got the Virginia one because
Yeah,
Virginia. I'm not trying
because
to catch everything else.
because Virginia is for lovers.
You got Trev's been looking for Texas.
But yeah, so I'll pick a few of those up. But I've got an Action Comics one. I've got a Star Trek one. What I the one of the Captain America What Ifs is an Iwo Jima cover. As
Yeah.
an Iwo Jima cover.
Yeah,
I think
I have that one. I have the Captain America one.
Yeah.
yeah. And like I said, whenever I run across them, there's a JSA one I have on my radar. In my little eBay watch list, I'll probably get, because it's not going anywhere, so I'll probably get it. Um, and Captain is making fun of me because I haven't gone live in a while. But there is the story, the recount. There is a recount Iwo Jima variant that I'm looking at. And I think there's a Transformers one, but that one's overseas. It's a UK Transformers book, so I have to order it and probably pay through the nose for shipping and everything. But
Very cool.
This
It's
is book
just
number
money,
9.
man. They
And
print it.
I'd never seen the Justice League one before, so that was
Yeah.
nice.
It's just
Right.
money, man. They print it every day. That those presses are rolling every day. Just get what you want.
That unfortunately, I can't print the money. I need a money printer.
Right?
But yeah, I really do like and pick up these Iwo Jima covers whenever I see them out, and I decided to bring one out and show everybody.
Nice. It's a beauty.
It's beauty.
Although
Number 10.
Marvel has a funny thing though. Half the time they forget which way the flag is going, so the flag will be going the other way.
Yeah, they kind of.
The other way, yeah. I don't know how I don't know.
Maybe
who
they
is
got a
drawing
picture
it,
that was
if
flipped of it.
they're drawing from memory instead of looking at it. But every once in a while, Marvel will do it, but they draw it the other way.
Brother John's coming on the 1011 soon.
Oh, nice.
He is definitely printing money. He said that every day is
literally prints money.
every day is Christmas. Brother John prints money.
Well, you know, though, like a good brother, he should share some. All right, number 10, TJ.
Number 10 is the first time that I think anyone has really read my mind in comics and sent me something. And so Taylor Winder and I did his unboxing battle. And I think I just showed my book. We did the unboxing battle, and he sent me a box, whole bunch of great books, Transformers books, great variants, a couple of story starters. But he also sent me
Oh, nice.
this Moon Knight Battle Damage cover.
Nice.
And I feel like he must have been reading my mind, because I've been staring at this book for a while and kind of looking back and forth to see if it would ever fall, because I really don't feel like paying market price for it. it came to me in this exchange that I don't know if I deserve or not, but yeah, this was a great book to have, and he may not let you know he's generous, but a very generous person.
Oh yeah, Taylor's awesome.
He's not going to take credit, but I'm going to give it to him.
Well, he tries to be curmudgeonly, but he's a big softy,
I know big sausages when I see them.
right? Now, I ain't never seen that cover. That's cool, TJ.
Right. Yeah. I knew I was going to get one day, but I figured it would take like a year or two for the price to come down and be reasonable. And then it came in the mail.
Now, is that an exclusive for someone or?
Um, it I guess it's a whatnot exclusive.
Oh, okay.
That's
That's
where they
why
were
I
selling
haven't
it.
seen it.
It's kind of like I think they started off with the Invincibles, and then they had another couple of books that had the battle damage, and then the Moon Knight came around. And I'm like, well, if it's a reasonable price, I'll jump on it. And then like right out the gate, it's like $50 or $60, and I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm for as much curmudgeon as you think Taylor is. I am that much more frugal. And so the prices that people are asking, like, I can't do it. So
Right. 'Cause at the end of the day, it's a sheet of paper.
right, and I think I want to say it's just a facsimile of issue number 1. So it's not from what I know, but I hadn't opened it, but it's not an exclusive of an original book. This is a facsimile of issue number 1.
Right.
Right.
And
And
it's
so
weird too because those facsimiles hit like $20 after a couple months. Usually, most of them.
And it drives Rob crazy when they do. It's awesome.
Right.
but this is book number 10 from a curmudgeonly gentle teddy bear, or however you want to
Taylor Quinder.
put it.
Wonder.
That's book number 10.
Yeah, the arcade saying sick cover, never seen it before.
Yeah.
Right.
Mom and Sons is correct. It is a reprint. Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's what TJ just said. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Awesome, dude. All right. So, what's your 11th with a personal story attached?
Personal story attached.
Yep.
And I feel like you've seen this book on the 1011 before, but this is my book with the personal story attached.
Last Ronin?
Last Ronin, issue number 1, basically printed or created. Well, the cover itself was created after the comic Jabroni passed.
Yeah.
And so I and for those who, I feel like everybody's at least heard of the comic Jabroni, but really good guy, really helpful, really knowledgeable, really welcoming. He told I'm on YouTube now because he said something real simple to me when I was asking him about being on YouTube. This is during the pandemic. I asked him, what do you do? How do you do this YouTube thing, and how does it work? And he asked me 2 questions. He says, Do you collect comics? I said, yes. He's like, do you have a phone? I said, yes. Well, you have a camera, you got content, turn it on and make it. And he wanted everybody who wanted to be part of the community to be part of the community. And so when he passed, I knew I had to have this book. And then I sent it off for the Kevin Eastman signing, and the book took like a year and a half to come back.
Oh, and I see the remark on it too.
Yeah, he did a remark too. Yeah.
Now my only, and I don't have many regrets, but I should have somehow made sure I can find it. I should have made sure that he did not sign a remark right there, because that says R.I.P. Jabroni underneath the signature.
Yeah,
Oh,
it does.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when I got it back, I was like, you could have, chosen. And this is my fault, because you had to make your own window bag. So I made
Yeah.
the window bag. So it's not like he signed it in the wrong spot. I put the window bag there, and when it came back, I felt like a dunce. Like, why would you put why would you put it right there? That didn't make any
it's the
sense.
first time you're sending something out, though. You don't think
Right.
of everything. You're like,
Yeah. But yeah, so this is my storybook for no other reason than the comic Jabroni was a great
inspiration
guy
for you.
and an influence on me. And one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of come into the community.
Yeah. He was.
Nice. I did not know that. That is awesome, TJ.
Right. It's just
I
kind of,
didn't know you knew Comic Jabroni like that. Like I've met him 3 times at a Comic Con, way back in the day, obviously.
I would have loved to meet him. I say it because he's from Augusta. I think he's from Augusta. He's from Augusta, right?
He's from Georgia. I'm not sure where. I always met him at Comic Cons and stuff.
Okay. And so he was stationed in San Antonio, and I said that whenever he came back from San Antonio, um, I'd make my way to Georgia sometime, because I'm right in Alabama. I'd make my way over there sometime for some reason, on some road trip or whatever. If nothing else but to stop by, say hey, and chop it up for a minute or two while I'm driving to somewhere else. If nothing else, I take the time to meet him, because I enjoy his content and I enjoy his vibe and his energy and all this stuff. And then it didn't happen. So this is the book I have to kind of have Comic Jabroni with me.
That's cool, though. I mean, you got that connection with it.
Right.
I mean, every time you look at it, it's going to instantly bring you back to all that stuff.
It does. And like
Hopefully, it brings you to the good times, right?
yes.
That's the
Yeah.
important part, right? The good times.
All right. So what is this?
Your
Spec book?
spec pick. A spec pick
So
from
it's
your
gonna make me
PC.
$1 million. Do I have it? Do I not have it? Tell me, TJ.
Is it a
Oh,
Justice League reprint?
it is not a Justice League reprint. It is a DC. It is a DC book. And I don't know if Rob's in the house or not, but Rob Fatstacks would be happy that my spec book is Batman issue number 21, first Duke Thomas.
Oh, I know this about you. I should have seen this one coming.
I was
Because
trying
we
to think of,
talked about it in the hot seat.
yes. I was trying to think of what my spec book would be, because I don't have a whole lot of
The Signal.
yeah. I don't have a whole lot of specky books, but this one jumped out at me. Hopefully one day DC will recognize, either in movies or shows or just in their books, that some popular writer named Scott Snyder said that Batman deemed the Signal ready to be the protector of Gotham during the daytime. So all the Gotham stories don't have to be at night. We can have some Gotham daytime stories, and it has a daytime hero.
Right. Well, because we know Batman doesn't care about daytime crime.
No, it doesn't, because you
Screw
can't shine
those
the
people.
light
What are they
in
out
the
in the
daytime.
daylight for anyway?
As a matter of fact, you can only shine the light when it's cloudy. We've done proven this.
It's all about making
Yeah,
an entrance.
what does happen? How do you call Batman if something happens during the daytime? Like you turn the bat signal on, and
Oh,
it's
the red phone. Remember the red phone? The
Right?
60
Oh, you call
No,
it
and Joe posed the better question, because you don't think about it, because it's always cloudy in the comics. But if there's no clouds, the signal doesn't work either.
Or pollution, because that again, it was supposed to mimic Chicago, and if you've ever been to C2E2, you know you can shine a bat light there.
That's what I need to do is I need to get out to one of those one of the bigger shows one day just to go out and see.
Before we head out, remind me before we dip out. I have a question to ask you.
Okay.
Personally, I know it's not a hot seat thing, but I prepared for the hot seat because I also got confused tonight. So when you're done,
ask him now.
I have a question to ask you.
Okay.
We're in post-show banter. You can ask him if you like.
Well, if he's done talking about his book and why that was a spec book.
Actually, I did not know until just now that this what do you call the surface when it isn't flat?
I'm sorry?
What do you call the surface of the book when it's not? It's kind of die cut-ish. Like you can feel the embossed. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay. Yeah, you can feel the words and the bat signal down here kind of raise up around the yellow print.
Bub, you're fingering that cover kind of hard. Yeah, I mean, this might get demoted.
I know. I know. I don't know if that ever happened on the 10-1-1.
Right? So, but before Joe's question, so Duke Thomas, the Signal, is just a character you identified with right away and just really dug?
I think so. I kind of, I don't want to call him an oddball character, but he's kind of the odd man out of the Batman training regimen. Yeah. Because he's not a Robin. He trained like the Robins, but he doesn't want to be a Robin. He wants to stand on his own.
Well, he sees what happened to all the other Robins. Who'd want to be a Robin? Oh, I'm gonna die. No, screw that.
Have all of them at one point in time? Does Dick Grayson ever die?
I don't know if Dick Grayson dies, but he went through his share of crap being Robin.
Right.
Which is why he became Nightwing, where he's like, nope, hanging up this little bird suit.
Just to be real, any kid that's involved with Batman is screwed. I don't care if it's spoiler. I don't care if it's whatever, how many big the Bat family. Name me a character that isn't psychologically kind of jacked up from dealing with Batman.
Traumatized. He's Batman.
Hey, like you hang out with insanity, guess what happens?
Right. That's why I seen. I was like, I'll take the trailer, but I'll do my own thing respectfully.
Right. I'll hang out during the daytime. You guys.
Yeah, Bobby knows. He says Grayson never died.
Okay. The last time I think I saw Duke officially hanging out with Batman was right before the Outsiders run, and he got blown up.
Where I could see Duke Thomas turning up is on the Titans show. Like that would be a great fit for that show.
In the current one that's running now, I don't know if that would be a weird kind of tie-in, but I see where you're going with it. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the Titan show. It's okay.
I still haven't watched much of the Titan show.
There's a lot of really bad plot holes.
Yeah.
Like you have a Superboy, you have a super person on your team, and they don't beat up anybody.
They don't do anything.
You got to incapacitate him within the first couple episodes every season,
more
so
like
a bad guy can last.
You know what? He acts more like Batman during the day. He's just all broody and sad and gothic. It's like, oh, I'm so sad, and I got all these powers. Oh, my mascara is running, or whatever the goth kids wear today. I don't know, but he's just sad.
like people ever since the first season, people have just kind of scared me off of giving Titans like that much time and attention.
I tell
Like,
you
I
what,
don't.
I watch a lot of these shows, and this is just me personally. Let me know your opinion, especially you in the chat. I watch a lot of these shows because I try to be engaged in the community. I try to know what's going on, and I want to talk about it. And I find myself watching a bunch of stuff that I just don't care about. Like, I know that sounds horrible, but we all have different tastes and different likes. But you always kind of want to be involved and engaged. I find myself watching a bunch of stuff that I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I don't hate it. I don't like it. I'm flipping through Instagram while I'm watching it. Like, that's my feeling for this thing. And then
You
all of
know
a
what?
sudden, Werewolf
That
by
that
Night came out.
that actually. I don't know. I don't know if you meant to, but that actually answers the question I've been sitting on for the last couple of weeks. Um, because there's a certain show that is a social pariah. People either people either love
She-Hulk?
it or people either love it or hate it. They fight over it, and Marvel shouldn't do this, and Marvel shouldn't do that.
She-Hulk?
Yes,
Well,
I, I
I
and
love
think
She-Hulk.
I always wonder to myself, for the people who aren't digging the show, like after two or three episodes, I always wonder why keep watching.
so.
Because if
Like,
they complain about it, it gets them attention.
I can
but
actually answer this in a different way. I
yes,
I watch it so I can be part of the community and I can engage. I'm
yeah,
not a fan of the show. I love the comic book series. I
mhm,
thought the comic book series had more suspense in it than the show. I
yes,
get they were going with goofy comedy in it. But the truth is, again, I'm a reader of comics, and 90% of what I do in life is reading. And then I make things in my garage,
right,
right? I think it's just poorly written. I really think it's just, and that's not a slight on the show. It's not an insult to anybody. It's just, I think it's just a poorly written show. The jokes don't make people laugh. They're just to be snarky and mean. Like, that's obvious. I'm not some old head stuck in my old ways. I like new humor too, but all you did was just repackage Ally McBeal, and you just made it a slight more edgier to me. That's my criticism of it. I try to avoid giving that out, but it's not my live show, so
um,
Oh no,
whatever.
that's fine. Yeah.
Barry's got to deal with the comments,
I
not
don't
me.
care. It was,
so
like
all right,
I always say,
so
the only
but your point, I think, answered my question about people who watch the show but aren't keen on the show. Is that you still want to be engaged
you want to be
with
part of the
people with
conversation.
people with community
Mhm.
that watches it. You don't want to be, no one
That
wants to be left out of the
And
conversations
you
and
know
everything.
for a fact that if somebody likes something and
Mhm.
you're like, I stopped watching an episode, the next thing they're going to say is, well, you need to get caught back up and catch it here. So it's easier just to suffer through it and, like, no, I watched every episode and I still hate it. Now you got to attack me on a personal level, and we're all supposed to be friends. Good luck.
So I watched it.
What's
I
that?
I like it, but I can't say anything Joe said is wrong. I just liked it because I have a deep. It's one of those things where you love the character so much, you're just happy to see the character.
Yeah. And I can see
And I
that.
really think Tatiana Maslany is a good Jennifer Walters, and I don't think any of the actors are the problem.
Yeah.
Like Joe said, I think it's writing.
It's just bad.
I like all the cast a
Yeah.
lot. But I read the original Savage She-Hulk and really
Mhm.
loved that, and I wanted to see
Yeah.
some Savage She-Hulk, and we got a little bit in the last episode, but the John Burns stuff and all the other stuff was fun. But my favorite She-Hulk is always going to be Savage She-Hulk.
Right, but even the launch point to it, the whole mafia involvement and her being a lawyer, like that made more suspense in the comic book. And
Right,
then the show just kind of bypassed that and made this goofy thing where it was like, and it's like, no, you kind of lost the heart. Like a little
right.
bit of heart would have really have boosted that show, in my opinion.
Yes, and like
Right.
instantly, like she gets a little cut and a little Hulk blood. And I'm Hulk.
Yeah. Apparently, gamma radiation, science
Yeah,
woo
that
woo
was that
happened,
was
is
that
AIDS.
was kind of
It's
fast.
AIDS.
Like I'm enjoying the show, but that and a couple of other things, like, that was kind of fast. That was
Me too,
really
Calvin.
quick. She's like
Well,
She-Hulk in 2 minutes.
like him, I wanted to see the drama where she's presenting the case against the mafia in court, and then she gets shot on her
Yeah.
way to the car, and
And I,
then
I,
her dad was all supportive. And in the
that,
comic,
and
her
I'll be
dad
honest
and
with
her.
you, I want to see I'm a villains guy. I literally have an evil lair. I want to see a competent villain and like a real challenge. Dating, and I've made this argument before. If you're hunting in Virginia looking for a lion, it's not going to happen. If you're using a dating app to find your soulmate, it's not going to happen. Like, I'm sorry, folks, this is not going to happen. I want to see like a legit something that could happen to you, uh, an online doxing and stuff like that. Like, I'm not an old head stuck in my old ways. Like, I understand that stuff's important, but I want like your life could end.
Right.
Level of stuff going on here. And
Now,
I
I,
think that's
I
great.
wonder. I wonder if that's what comes next. Because the thing that happened at the end of episode 8, like it's it's terrible for her personal life, probably for her professional life. But on a side note, what's your man's name, Josh? He did finally get what they've been trying to get throughout, and I think that's a bigger danger. I don't know. I don't know what the purpose is, but I think that's the bigger danger.
The thing is,
And,
I
and,
don't think they're
and
going
I
to
do want
answer
to bring
that
up.
in the last episode. It's only 34 minutes long.
I do have one other question. How do
yeah,
you get Lawyer of the Year, She-Hulk, after one court hearing? Like she
um,
went to court once, and she's Lawyer of the Year with these other ladies up there that have obviously been more established. How?
I think I think it's that makes a little bit more sense to me, but
Popularity.
not in a realistic sense. She's in LA, and there's I, I'm about to generalize LA, and if any West Coasters are in the house,
It's okay.
don't
It's
don't
Gary's
don't.
show. We can do whatever we want.
So I,
Run that
I think
channel into the ground.
I think I think in this I'm gonna say generalized version. I think she's getting like this superficial because she is She-Hulk type of award. Like if she was just Jennifer Walters, I don't think she'd have it. I think they're giving it to her superficially because she's She-Hulk,
Yeah.
and it doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like a good idea, but it kind of tracks with some people in some organizations who want to either curry favor or they want to look good because they did something with She-Hulk, whatever. I think
And
that's
I'm
kind of
more in
I think
I
line
that's
with.
kind of
agree.
where the award comes from, and not actually an actual Lawyer of the Year award.
I agree with Brother John
I
in
was just
here,
gonna
but
say because they gave it to a bunch. It was like a way for like these
yeah,
chauvinistic guys to
just to
placate
get
the women that they
fame.
didn't respect in the
Yeah,
field.
And that's my kind of problem with it because like like you had
there,
an
there,
opportunity.
there's one of those every episode. They if they don't if they don't make it plain, they sneak it in. But there's one of those every episode,
Yeah,
and it yeah I don't mind it. It doesn't bother me, but I see it.
yeah. And I
yeah,
would have
I
liked to have seen like I
that's
am
like
super happy
um
that it is and I'm gonna say this and people may get a little huffy about it, but just relax. I'm excited that this is a cameo premiere thing. Like you need the cameos to kind of push us on. And I know that sounds bad, right? She-Hulk should stand on its own, but they kind of bypassed the suspensefulness of it and made it a comedy. So therefore, you need to add something to kind of connect it with everything else. So I am kind of happy that we get to see characters we haven't seen in a while kind of interact, and that there is some minor connected pieces to it
mhm.
because now everything that happens there is going to be canon throughout the rest of the MCU. So I do
and
appreciate the show for that.
I did like the
and what
tidbit they put in there with her wanting to do pro bono work after Matt mentioned it.
I hope so.
Because
Because you know what? I'll
it'll
be
take her
honest with
away
you.
from that scene and make her a more serious
Yeah, the
lawyer.
dating app thing and all this other stuff. I would like to see a more if they're going to go comedy with it. I would like to see a more charitable person be part of comedy. Right? Does that make sense? Like I want to see a redeeming quality of the person, other than the fact that they exist.
Right, because in the original Savage She-Hulk, she just went for everything. She
Yeah,
was a
the
serious lawyer,
bulldog.
and she went for the throat on all of
Yeah,
her
she was
cases.
a bulldog. If you're gonna go with comedy, a little charity kind of. You're right, comedy and tragedy. You mix the
Mhm.
two together, you always keep people's interest. But that's I'm talking too much. I'm rambling.
Right, but TJ, you had something you were just going to say.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just wondering, and I wonder this about a lot of the characters on Disney Plus I've enjoyed most of the Disney Plus shows for what they are. I know they're different and some are young feeling or whatever, but I still watch them and enjoy them for what they are. But I'm curious as to how, especially with She-Hulk, once or if we start mixing her in other people's stuff, do they dial her back a little?
Oh, I think so. I think She-Hulk will become more serious as she's in more things.
I hope so. I hope
Or
we're seeing a
maybe
growth.
maybe the first time a real problem arises. It's like with Moon Knight. People I know no Moon Knight was it depends on what your flavor is. Moon Knight hit people in different ways. And a lot of it was Steven being kind of goofy and everything. But by the time Steven sees how much life and death is going on in this Moon Knight persona, and he kind of sees things from Mark's perspective, he gets a little less goofy and a little more serious.
Yeah. Like
And I think he comes around to the character that he should be
I,
by the
I
end.
I'm one of those who liked Moon Knight, so I'm one of those guys.
Right.
yeah,
Oh,
I agree with that too.
I enjoyed it. I
Oscar
enjoyed
Isaac
it,
was
but
amazing.
I knew it would be. I knew it would be different, and I knew it would people different people would receive it differently because Moon Knight's written and presented in the comics 18 different ways, and
Yeah,
if
you can go anywhere with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and if you only present him one way, you're guaranteed that 3/4 of the crowd were looking for this other version of Moon Knight.
Well, it's tough,
So
right? Because with all these history with the characters, you're not going to please everybody.
Right.
It's impossible. You cannot do it.
so you recently, and I have to ask this question because
Okay.
I had to do like I watch your stuff, and usually most people I watch is passing because I just programmed the TIG words on my or the tag words in my evil air through the computer in there to play everybody's stuff. So I've seen your stuff, and I know for a fact that you had a great haul of nothing but Marine Corps comic book covers here recently, not too long ago. And I know you didn't show any tonight. Why is that? Like, is that a private thing that you kind of keep off to the side? What's going on there?
It is. I decided to go with the one Iwo Jima cover to kind
Yeah.
of represent my Marine Corps stuff because like I said earlier, I had to cut it down to 10, and I was trying to hit these certain beats and catch these certain things and everything. Um, I left off a sketch cover I really like that didn't make the cut. I left off Shuri book that I really that
I saw that episode. Yeah. You talked about the Shuri book. Yeah.
that it would have come in if it were the 1111. The Shuri book would have made the cut because because um I I'm 90% sure that that's who is going to be or at least represent the Black Panther in the next movie. But um I wanted to bring the Shuri book and make the point that she should. That's fine. But then afterwards, like her post Black Panther stuff, like her post Black Panther, what she does with her life as a Marvel character, is way more exciting than the Black Panther.
Oh.
And I kind of and so that's kind of why that book almost made the cut. But yeah, but the answer to the Marine Corps books is just that I had 10 and
Right.
some of them just
Army
didn't make
books
the cut.
because they always look at somebody else with a smile. One other question because I prepared
Okay.
for the wrong show, and we're on Gary's channel, so he can cut us off.
He can eat it.
So you did a Spookies cover for Comic Cult.
Yes.
Tomb of Dracula, number 17. Did you read it? Was it what you expected?
I have not read it yet. But now
Dude, that was on October the 6th. Like, I did my research, man. You need to step up.
Look, so now that I've said that, if somebody's calling me on my BS, I have to go and read it.
Look for the video coming to his YouTube channel in just a few days. In-depth review. In place of a Transformers review this week.
Loads of, I'll tell you what, I absolutely enjoy, because I didn't pick up Shattered Glass run. And most of my Transformer stuff, I'll be honest with you, I haven't read. I just collect them because they're nostalgia for me.
Right.
So I just want to personally thank you for reviewing those, because I don't have to now, right? Like, I don't have to go chase down Shattered Glass, any of that other stuff. And I really enjoy the story you've been telling, and the explanation's been very thorough. So I personally want to say thank you for that, because it's one less thing I got to buy, which saves me a few more bucks.
I appreciate. Look, that's why. So I enjoy the community stuff. I love hanging out. Whenever I'm invited on somebody's show, or there's a pop up I can jump on, and I mean I'm around. I do it, and the community stuff is great. My first YouTube comic book love is comic book reviews. So that people who know more than I know more than I do can drop knowledge off on me, and B, maybe I don't have to buy 25 books a week.
That's why I do what I do. I just pick the things that I want, and I tell you if it's good or not. Like, I totally get
right.
you.
I can live vicariously through certain channels and through certain reviews. Yeah, and so that's kind of what I enjoy doing. First and foremost in comic book YouTube is reviews and stories and things like that. Then like community comes second, close second, but comes second, and then we'll slide some spec books in somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm not a specker either. Now the spec part of this show is here strictly for the audience, because a lot of people have done that.
Somewhere in the back we can and I like haul videos where I can see people have fun or whatever. That's third, and then somewhere around, I don't know, 10th is spec books. Don't ask me what happens between 4 and 9. I don't know.
Hopefully one of them is somebody taking something from a comic book and making it in real life. I'm just saying, I'm digging here.
That could be one. He could have an evil lair.
Just off the top of his head, nothing he's put any thought into. Just there. All right, so before we start wrapping this up,
he could make music videos in that lair too.
Right? Bobby De La Ghetto has this, and I want to see it too. Do you have it within reach? That sketch cover?
Let me grab it real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, grab it real quick.
See, I didn't forget it, Bobby. I had you, buddy.
I got you, buddy. And if you've never met Bobby in person, he is the coolest cat ever. I got a great opportunity to meet him in Kansas.
Yeah, I'll be telling you.
He was on the 1011, and we had a great time with him.
Yeah, he's a fun guy.
All right. Let's see. Let me go ahead and grab my honorable mention books. So my sketch cover is Walking Dead. What is this? 163.
Oh.
With Marvel's Walking Dead himself, since Moon Knight has died a few times, either figuratively or literally.
Nice.
Very nice. Who did it?
That's in the honorable mention pile. because Chris the Comic Vet also showed interest. Transformers 12,
Yeah.
where Optimus has like 3 different heads in the issue. That's in that.
Wow.
This was going to go before I decided to go with the Dinobots. This was second, but
Good
Chris
cover.
the Comic Vet said this was his first Transformers book. I don't think it was his first comic, but really early on, he ended up with this book. I don't have a lot of them, and I don't have excuse me. I don't have the most expensive one that I used to have, which is Miles Morales. I sold it once it caught fire, but I do have, because he's Howard the Duck,
Oh yeah.
this
First
hip
one,
hop band. I had to grab at least one of them, and it's Howard, and it's
That's a
OD.
cool cover.
Right. And then Shuri issue number 1.
Yes, everybody needs that in their collection. That's
Yeah.
an awesome cover.
Yeah.
It's a beauty.
I need what I need to do is I need to, and I haven't read it before, but apparently I need to read Doom War. Doom War, I think she is the Black Panther during Doom War.
Yeah.
And does she die in Doom War, or is it another story afterwards?
You need to go buy the book and read it for yourself.
Okay, all right. I'm
not going to spoil that for you. I do not want to take that away from you.
After I read
spoiler.
After I read Tomb of Dracula 17, I'm going to go and I'm going to find Doom War, and I'm going to give Doom War a read. But excuse me.
Man, Joe's peer pressuring you all over the place tonight.
I know. and I'm eating but Doom War and whatever happens afterwards, I think is the start of us learning Shuri's path after being the Black Panther. And
I'll go ahead and tell you, you're absolutely right. You don't have to think about it. I told you. So go read it.
meeting with all the ancestors, and now she has like the entire history of Wakanda in her head, and all kind of other things she can do post Black Panther. And so even if she makes a pit stop in Black Panther, I would love for her to get to the Shuri that exists now, sometime in the future.
Nice.
Go read the book.
But in order for me to really learn what that is, I have to go and read Doom War.
You won't be disappointed. Given what you've talked about tonight and the books that you've shown, he can do another 10-1-1, and if one of those books aren't on there, we can talk privately, and I'll tell you what you did wrong.
He's willing to tell you where you went astray.
Yeah, buried off.
I need guidance.
like Dr. Doom over there. I am the better man in the room. I've read what you fools haven't.
E-Man's got it. He knows. E-Man knows. Look, I like that. That is awesome.
Well, great stuff, TJ. We'll start wrapping it up now. We've been going for almost 2 hours. So we had 15-minute head start on you. Someone messed up the time. We won't talk. I mean, that guy, he's a mess anyway.
I'll talk.
But Joe, what's coming up for you, sir?
So, like I said, everything's going to be focused on comics curing cancer. Look, if you don't want a pirate Hydra ring, custom made, an evil layer from a villain, I get it. But all weekend long, we're going to be doing things. You know, it's time for us as collectors to go out. I'm a villain, but that doesn't make me a bad guy. I know I've saved up a little bit of cash. I'm going to be spending some ducats out there, and I hope I beat you on every bid. By all means, come challenge me. Come at me, bro.
Because he's been making money in that evil lair.
No, it costs money to have an evil lair.
I know, right?
Evil lair.
All right. Oh, all right. So coming up on my channel on Thursday, we have Fred Hall Direct Edition on In the Hot Seat with the Usual Suspects. Then we have an interview with Dismay Comics on Friday. And then we have Fable on the Saturday edition of the 1011. And then next Tuesday, Brother John.
Brother John. I like that.
Yep.
I need to have lunch with that guy. You know, he works in Richmond. And on Tuesdays, I got to go to Richmond. I meant to call him today. But I need to. If you don't know Brother John and you don't know TJ, like, your life is slowly missing a few things. Go check that stuff out. Go sub it up. Don't.
Right. You
don't
need that,
think
you need
about
that
it.
little
Just
bit
do
of positivity in there.
Yeah, just
And
go do
TJ,
good things.
what's coming up for you, sir?
So I dropped my video today for Transformers Tuesday, which was Shattered Glass issue number 3. My next video will probably be New Comic Book Day haul stuff, and then we'll see what happens, if anything happens between that and next Tuesday.
King of Dracula 17?
Tell me Dracula 17. We're gonna get that. We're gonna get that done. I have been shamed. I have been shamed and peer pressured. So we'll get that done.
You might as well read it.
Oh, goodness.
All right,
Yes,
so
thank
one
you,
last
guys.
question before you head out. So you went to a Comic-Con and you slightly hinted at the end of a video, I believe it was the Urban Nerd Comic-Con that you went to on
Yeah.
July 31st, or that's when you dropped the video.
Okay.
And you kind of did a slight hint at the end, like, hey, if you like and subscribe, I'll go to more Comic-Cons. What Comic-Cons you hitting up for 2023? Where can I go to a Comic-Con where all of us nerds meet and run into you and get that sweet bear hoorah marine hug?
I have not made any plans yet. I will tell you that I had a blast at Heroes Con this year, and so
I went to Heroes Con. We didn't run into each other. I'm sorry for that.
no, I ran into your compatriot,
Man, you ran into everybody else, and they didn't tell me I ran into you.
Marcus. Circumstances. I ran
Yes.
into him. Apparently, y'all may have hung out a couple of nights.
Yeah, we were smoking cigars and doing some drinking libations.
Right.
Libations means alcohol for everybody else.
And I skipped this year because I had to skip this year. I'm hoping to make it to Huntsville next year, and then we'll see what else happens. We'll
Hit
see.
me up on the Instagrams. I'm always looking for interesting Comic Cons. Love to come out and buy you a drink, sir.
All right, I appreciate it.
But TJ, Heroes Comment it was way too brief.
Right.
I missed you because I was digging. Like, that was a surprise for me. That con.
I was just there Saturday during the day, and because I was in Greensboro for the weekend, and I kind of drove up to Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm right there in Chesapeake.
And I was going to stay later, but I got kind of tired, and so I just kind of checked out after I left the con that day.
Damn, I wish we would have met up, dude. I would have led you to some good comic books.
We'll make it happen next time.
There's always the future. So you got to have something to look forward to, right?
There you go.
All right, guys, with that, we are going to end this episode. I want to say thank you to everyone who was in the chat participating. Thank you for coming out and supporting the show and supporting my co-host and my guests. Thank you guys very much. I want to thank my co-host and my guests. There's no show without you guys. Thank you both very much. I appreciate your time. And man, was it a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. Thank you so much. And until next time, keep it casual. Attention all, use channel sponsor Rogue Trader at theroguetraderutah.com and my code Keep It Casual for 10% off your comic cleaning and pressing needs. Remember, when submitting your books to be graded, use a trusted professional.